When I picked up the phone that morning, I had no idea my whole life was about to change. I only wanted to ask my son Max one simple question: when is the wedding date? But before Max could say anything, his wife Lena looked at me with a cold, shiny smile and said, "Oh, we already got married yesterday. We only invited special people." Her words hit me like a knife pushed straight into my chest. Special people. People who mattered. People who belonged. For 3 long years, I had paid their rent every single month. For 3 years, I filled their empty fridge when they had nothing. For 3 years, I bought their furniture and solved every little problem they had. But that day, standing in my own living room, I learned the truth. I was not special to them. Not even close. I still remember how heavy the phone felt in my hand. It felt like I was lifting 1,000 pounds. Max refused to look at me. He kept staring at the floor like a scared little boy. Lena, meanwhile, slowly sat down on the expensive sofa I bought for them. The dress I had chosen for her wedding, pale pink with soft lace, still hung in my closet, untouched. I bought it with love. I imagined myself wearing it proudly. I imagined pictures with my only son on the happiest day of his life. But I was not in the pictures. I wasn't even told. For weeks, I had saved money to give them a $1,000 wedding gift. I cleaned my home, thinking they might come to celebrate with me. I called my sister in Chicago and told her the good news. But all of that meant nothing. Later that evening, I opened my phone and saw pictures of the wedding on social media. There they were, Max and Lena, smiling in fancy clothes. There were Lena's parents, sister, brother. There were cousins and friends. Everyone was there. Everyone except me. The next 7 days were heavy. My head hurt. My heart hurt. My chest felt tight every morning. I tried to understand what I did wrong. I tried to remember if I hurt them. I cried at night, quietly, so no one could hear. Then on the 7th day, Lena called me again. This time, her voice was not cold. This time, she was not smiling. This time, she sounded scared. "Renata, the rent is overdue. The landlord is angry. We might get kicked out. You forgot to make the transfer." Forgot? I didn't forget. I stopped. I stayed silent for a long moment. I remembered all the times I ran to the bank just for them. All the times I gave up my own plans. All the small dreams I buried so theirs could stay alive. And now, after they cut me out of the most important day of their lives, they still expected me to pay. I took a slow breath and said softly, "Lena, didn't I tell you? I only help special people." The silence on the phone was deep. She wasn't expecting that. She started shaking her words. "What do you mean? We're special to you. You're like a second mother to me." A lie. A soft, sugar-coated lie. That night, I sat down at my kitchen table with a pencil and a notebook. I wrote every dollar I spent on them. $18,000 for rent. $7,200 for food. $3,000 for gifts. $800 for emergencies. $2,500 for car. $600 for repairs. $1,200 for furniture. $33,300. Money from my husband. Money from my pension. Money from my future. I stared at the total, and something inside me finally snapped. I cried, but the tears were not weak. They were strong. Sharp. Hot. I cried for the years I tried too hard. For the mother who kept giving. For the woman I lost somewhere along the way. The next morning, everything felt different. The sunlight looked strange. My home felt lighter. My mind felt clearer. I stood in front of the mirror and looked at myself, really looked. Same wrinkles. Same eyes. But a different woman. A woman who was finally done being used. A woman who wanted her power back. That morning, I made a decision. I would stop all automatic transfers. I would protect my money. I would protect my heart. And for the first time in a long time, I would protect myself. This was not just a small moment. This was the beginning of a storm. The beginning of a battle. The beginning of the part of the story that would change everything. Because when people lose control over your life, they don't just walk away quietly. They fight to keep their power. And Max and Lena were about to fight harder than I ever imagined. I woke up the next morning feeling something new inside me. It was not anger anymore. It was strength. A quiet, steady kind of strength that I had not felt in years. I walked into the kitchen, made my coffee, and for the first time in a long time, I did not check my phone to see if Max had texted me. I did not wait for Lena's voice. I did not feel scared of anyone's reactions. I felt free. But freedom doesn't stay quiet for long. That afternoon, when I came home from my walk, I saw something that made my heart freeze. 3 cars. Parked right in front of my house. Max's car. Lena's car. And a third one I did not recognize. I felt a cold wave run through me. They had keys. I had given them keys because I trusted them. I believed one day they would take care of me the way I took care of them. I took a deep breath and opened the door. Inside, chaos waited for me. Max sat on my sofa with his head in his hands. Lena walked around the room like she owned it. And the stranger? A man in a gray suit, flipping through my personal documents on the dining table. My bank papers. My medical papers. My will. Anger rose inside me like fire. What is happening in my house? My voice was stronger than I expected. They all turned around like I was the intruder. Lena walked forward first, with fake softness in her eyes. Renata, honey, thank God you're here. This is Mr. Fisher. We're just trying to help you. Help me. I said slowly. By reading my private papers without my permission? Max stood up, trying to look like a caring son. Mom, we're worried about you. You've been acting very strange. Canceling transfers without telling us. Not answering our calls. We think something may be wrong. This was a performance. A beautiful performance from people who knew how to twist the truth. Then the man in the gray suit stepped forward. Mrs. Richter, I am Dr. Fisher, a family attorney. Your children are concerned about your mental health. They believe you may not be able to make financial decisions clearly. I am here to evaluate if you need guardianship. Guardianship? The word dropped like a stone inside my heart. My own son. My only child. Wanted to declare me mentally incompetent. Not because I was sick. Not because I was confused. But because I stopped giving him money. I looked at Max. He couldn't even look at me. My voice came out sharp. You want to take control of my money. Max flinched. Lena's mask cracked for a moment. We just want to make sure everything is safe, she said through clenched teeth. Safe for who? I asked. For me? Or for your bills? Silence. Deep, guilty silence. But then Lena's real voice finally slipped out. We have responsibilities, Renata. We counted on your support. We made plans based on it. Plans. Based on my money. Not based on love. Mr. Fisher put a file on my table. Just sign here, and your son will handle your finances. This will protect you from making irrational choices. I picked up the file and threw it straight into the trash. The shock on their faces was priceless. Get out of my house, I said. All 3 of them froze. Max stepped forward. Mom, don't do this. You'll end up alone. No one will take care of you. I looked right into his eyes. I have been alone, Max. I was alone when your father died. I was alone when I paid your bills. Alone when you left me out of your wedding. The only difference now is that I choose it. For the first time, he backed away from me. They left slowly, with wounded pride and angry faces. When the door closed, I felt a deep silence around me. A beautiful, powerful silence. I was shaking. But it wasn't fear. It was freedom. I changed the locks the next day. I installed security cameras. I opened a new bank account. I called my lawyer, Mr. Weber, a man with real kindness in his voice, not the cold smile of Mr. Fisher. When I told him everything, he shook his head. Renata, what your son is doing is elder financial abuse. And I promise you, I will help you. We gathered every document. Every transfer. Every message. Every time I paid their rent. Every time they used my kindness. The total was more than $33,000, but the emotional cost was far higher. That night, I cried again. But not from weakness. From release. For the first time in my life, I wasn't crying because they hurt me. I was crying because I finally chose myself. 3 weeks later, I walked into the courthouse wearing my best black suit. Not because I wanted to impress anyone. But because I wanted to remind myself that I was not a weak old woman. I was Renata. I had survived more than people knew. Max and Lena were already there. Max looked nervous. Lena looked angry. They had hired the same cold lawyer, ready to prove that I was mentally unstable. The case began. Their lawyer spoke first. Your Honor, Mrs. Renata Richter has shown sudden irrational behavior. She canceled financial transfers. She isolated herself. She refused medical evaluations. She installed cameras due to paranoia. Every sentence twisted the truth like a knife. Then they brought their witnesses. The neighbor who barely knew me. A pharmacist tricked into signing a paper. And, of course, Lena with crocodile tears. She spoke like she was in a movie. Renata has always been like a second mother to me. But lately she is not herself. We just want to help her. Her tears flowed. Her lies flowed even more. Then Max testified. Hearing my own son speak lies about me was the hardest thing I have ever faced. He said I was confused. He said I forgot things. He said I was emotional, unstable, and needed guidance. He forgot to mention that I paid his bills for 3 years. But then. It was our turn. Mr. Weber stood up. Calm. Confident. Sharp as a knife. Your Honor, he said, this is not a case of incompetence. This is a case of financial exploitation. He placed every bank record on the judge's table. Every transfer. Every receipt. Every month of rent. Every time I paid their bills. Then he brought my real witnesses. My pharmacist. My neighbor Eleanor. My garden club friends. People who actually knew me. Then he presented the psychiatric evaluation by Dr. Moore. The doctor who tested everything from my memory to my reasoning. She said. Mrs. Richter has excellent mental capacity for her age. She is fully competent. Finally, I took the stand. I spoke slowly. Clearly. With the strength of a woman who had carried too much for too long. I told the court. I paid for their home. For their food. For their emergencies. For their comfort. They excluded me from their wedding. The most important day of my son's life. Not because I was confused. Not because I was unstable. But because I am nothing to them without my money. The courtroom went silent. For 3 years, I said, I gave them everything. And when I stopped, they tried to take my freedom. I am not confused, Your Honor. I am heartbroken. But I am not incompetent. The judge stepped away to think. 2 hours passed. I sat quietly. I didn't pray, I didn't worry. I just breathed. When the judge returned, his words changed my life. Mrs. Richter is mentally competent. This court denies the request for guardianship. Case dismissed. Just like that, I won. Max froze. Lena's face twisted with anger. Their lawyer looked embarrassed. I walked out of that courtroom lighter than air. That night, my new friends came over with food and flowers. We laughed. We cried. We celebrated. For the first time in years, I felt surrounded by real love. The kind that doesn't need money attached. 3 months later, I sold my house. I moved into a beautiful apartment near the city. I joined art classes. I traveled. I donated money to help seniors going through the same pain I lived through. I never heard from Max and Lena again. I don't know where they are. I don't know what they're doing. And for the first time, I don't need to know. Some nights, I sit on my balcony and look at the stars. I think about everything I lost. And everything I finally gained. My freedom. My peace. My self-respect. My name is Renata. I am 72 years old. And I have finally learned that love is never something you buy. It is something you deserve.